What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Happy Friday. So today we're going to do something a little different because it is August 1st. I know it's crazy. We're already in August. It really is wild how fast time is going, especially this year and in the Pokemon hobby. What we're going to do is we're going to look at the top performing investments over the past 30 days, basically the top performing investments from July. And these are things that I track in the spreadsheet. So there might be some things that did better than this that aren't going to be on the list. For example, the Celebrations Pokemon Center ETB would probably be on here. I think that's up like around 40-ish% the past month. And then maybe some of the other Pokemon Center ETBs would have made the list. This is basically anything over like a 10% return over the past month. Some things were up 5-6%. I figured we wouldn't even throw those in. They're not as interesting. And also, I know it's Friday, so a lot of you guys are probably expecting an ETB update. If you want to check the ETB update, it's done in the spreadsheet. It's completed. Not too much going on. There's a couple interesting ETBs to look at, but outside of that, it's kind of what I expected. We've seen a slowdown in ETBs. And I think a lot of the money that was going into certain ETBs maybe a couple months ago is now going into different ETBs that are coming out. I'm going to have a video on Black Bolt actually this weekend, I believe, just talking about the whole seismitoad scenario and what's going on there. But just know if you want to go check that out, it's done, it's completed, it's ready for you to view it. Now we'll start off with Celebrations. This has been crushing it over the past month, not just the ETB, PCTB, the UPC. The regular ETB, you can see on the TCG Player graph, is up 37%. Now just know that TCG Player, this graph is only for 28 days. It's not actually for an entire 1 month period. When I do the update in the spreadsheet, I go based off like July 1st, August 1st, the first of basically every month is going to be updated. And that way we just get 12 straight updates for each sealed item. So if you go look at the master list, you might see that the numbers are slightly off, and that's why. But Celebrations, it has been the best performing sealed investment over the past month. That's really not arguable. Next up, 151 ETBs. These, honestly, the regular ones are getting fairly close to $300 at this point, around $290. I think there are actually sales on eBay over 300. I believe on TCG Player as well. Basically every sale at this point is at $300. So this box just continues to move up. Again, I kind of said it's like the evolving skies of the SVR in that this sealed product, whether it's the ETB or the PCTB, it just keeps going like the Evolving Skies booster box is doing. It's one of the only boxes that when everything else was slowing down, it just continued climbing steadily. 151, it's doing the exact same thing, up around 18-19%. And then I think this is the final regular ETB on the list, the Paldean Fates ETB, up 11.63%. I think in the spreadsheet it was like right around 12% from July 1st to August 1st. Now, before we go any further and talk about PCTBs and some other products, I just want to jump in here and give a shout out to today's video sponsor, the Shiny app. Guys, whether you're investing in Pokemon or collecting, it's important to know what you have at all times. That's where Shiny comes in. It's a mobile app for you to track your investments, whether that's sealed product, singles, or slabs. They cover Pokemon, One Piece, Yu-Gi-Oh! Magic, Lorcana, and Sorcery. And in Pokemon, they also cover English, Japanese, and simplified Chinese products. In my opinion, their app is way easier to use than their competitors. And what I love about Shiny is that they're trying to update their data more frequently than everyone else. They're updating twice a day from sources like TCG Player, eBay, Card Market, and Price Charting. And the best part about the app is that it's free, so I'll leave links to the Google Play and App Store in the description and pinned comment down below. And thank you to Shiny for sponsoring the video. Now, moving on, there's going to be a couple PC ETBs on the list. 151 PCTBs, these are up 37%. So these are actually holding steady with Celebrations over the past month in terms of ROI, and they're just going nuclear. I mean, these could potentially be $1,000 in ETB by the end of the year. When we did the PCTB update, it didn't really seem like these were slowing down at all. We're only doing that once a month now, so in a couple weeks when we look at it again, we'll have a better idea of what's going on with these 151 PCTBs, but massive growth there. Next up, Obsidian Flames. This is a more humble return, 12.15% over the past month, sitting around $360. We all know the Charmander promo is very sought after, even though Obsidian Flames isn't the best set. And then Paldean Fates, the PCTBs, these are sitting around $294, up 22.33% over the past 28 days on TCG Player. This still doesn't make too much sense to me. I figured that these PCTBs would be a little bit more expensive, especially when we consider the regular ETBs over $200. So I kind of figured that these would be around $310, $315 at this point, but still a very expensive box that is continuing to move up. And then finally, I think this is the last PCTB, or there might be one more actually. Prismatic Evolution, surprisingly, up around 18% over the past month, the PC version there. And then Twilight Masquerade PC version only up 10.72%. I say only, that's still an amazing return for a month. But this box now sitting around 140-ish dollars. These, I believe, were restocked in the UK and also in North America back in like December, January. So there's a few more of these out there compared to some of the other ETBs that we look at. Now, next up, we're going to look at some booster boxes, starting off with Destin Rivals. This has been the heavy hitter, up 25.45% over the past 28 days on TCG Player, sitting around $315 now. Just crazy. I mean, I figured when this hit 300, it would start to slow down. Maybe it's going to slow down now at 315, but very, very popular booster box. I think most people agree it is the best booster box set of the SV era. I'm still hoping that eventually I'll be able to build a larger position, but if this box never gets cheaper and I miss out, I'm completely fine with that as well. As we get deeper into this bull run, I am buying less at every release. I am still buying a little bit, and again, I'm going to touch on that when I do the Black Bolt White Flare video, just talking about what's going on with the Seismitoad and everything else. But if I can't get more at a decent price, it's fine, right? I'm okay with that. Next up, Journey Together. This is the regular booster box, not the enhanced version. This is up 8.71% on TCG Player. I think in my chart, it's up 9.83% or something from July 1st to August 1st, so a couple more days. $245, $246, more expensive than the enhanced version right now. And then the final booster box on the list is Evolving Skies. This is a little bit lower than 10%, but still around 9.6% return over the past month. That's still very impressive for a box that's over $2,000 at this point. And it's looking like this box is just going to continue climbing towards $2,500 over the next couple months. I also just wanted to jump in here and say, if you guys are getting some value out of this content, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. Helps out a ton. I really appreciate if you decide to do that. Now, next up, and I think this is going to be the final Pokemon product on this list, we have the Celebrations UPC, up 36.38%, fairly close to what the ETB is doing. I think I'd rather have this return on the UPC just because it's a more expensive item, but still a very solid return on this. I mean, you can't complain if your boxes are going up 40% month over month. That is just crazy. I will say though, when I was looking at the data this week for the Celebrations ETB, and then when I was looking at the UPC as well, it kind of seems like stuff is slowly starting to taper off, but it still could potentially run like the ETBs, the regular ones. It could still run to like $280, $290. I think that's possible just based on the sell-through rate that I'm looking at over the past 7 days. Entirely possible, but also if these start to taper off and trade sideways for a little bit, I wouldn't be surprised about that either. And then finally, the last couple things I wanted to talk about on this list. I know it's not Pokemon, but you guys know I do have a One Piece channel, and I just figured I'd throw in a couple of these because I know some of you guys do follow One Piece at this point. PRBO1 up 18% over the past month. These booster boxes are now over $300, 307-ish approximately. They're down to around 260, I think, about a month ago. That was a pretty decent buying opportunity. If you guys are in One Piece, you're in the realm, you know that this is probably the #1 or #2 set that Bandai has released so far out of like the 14 or 15 sets that they've released at this point. But there were a couple more booster boxes that did all right this month. So the Romance Dawn Blue Bottoms, this was the original box released by Bandai. These are sitting around $1,400, $1,450 at this point, up 12.21% over the past month. These have moved from like $1,000 maybe at the start of April to now midsummer around $1,500-ish dollars. We consistently see sales above 15, even pushing 1,600. So it really depends on where you're buying from. If you live in the EU or Australia or other parts of the world, you might be able to find these a bit cheaper. In North America, we tend to have to pay a little bit of a premium on One Piece product. And then finally, the last box I wanted to throw in here, OP11, A Fist of Divine Speed. This is the most recent release. OP12 is coming fairly shortly though, up 11% over the past month. These were around $150 at release. We saw on TCG Player a race to the bottom. These dropped to $120. You have the gold and silver Luffy in here. You have the Gear 4 manga Luffy, a couple other decent cards. So it didn't really make sense for this box to be $120. I imagine that wouldn't last long. We're already seeing these boxes mid 130s again. I think they're just going to continue climbing back to like around 140, 145, eventually pushing towards $200. That might be a year away though. But either way, OP11 is definitely up there as one of the better sets in One Piece. I don't think it's like S tier or even like top of A tier, but maybe back of A tier, high B tier. It's very solid, especially with those Luffy chase cards. But that is going to be it for the video today. These are some of the items performing great. If you guys like this type of video, I could definitely do it again in September, October, whenever you guys want. With that said, thank you guys so much for watching the video. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one.